It is evident that fictional stories have always thrived off the imagination of their writers. Nonetheless, it is also true that most authors are inspired by the world around them to write their stories. J.K. Rowling is a fine example of this kind of writer. We've all grown up reading the detailed and captivating story created by her. We've been equally enticed by the magic unfolding across the span of 8 different films, and along the way, we fell in love with most of her characters, hated a few of them, lost some of them forever, and while we mourned the loss of some of these beloved characters, we learned how to stand up for what's right before that truly operatic finale where good finally triumphed over evil. But was the wizarding world of Harry Potter created by Rowling just another classical tale of good versus evil? Or was the entire series a metaphor for something far grander than the usual template of good and evil? An allegory perhaps for something that actually took place in our history? I'm Devesh, and today on my channel Sailor Cinema, I'm going to be reviewing the second installment in the Fantastic Beasts franchise, Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald. A sequel to the 2016 film Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, The Crimes of Grindelwald picks up exactly where the first film left off. While the first film introduced us to the wizarding world in an altogether different continent, this one takes place far closer home in Paris and sees the return of Albus Dumbledore, who enlists his former student Newt Scamander to once again thwart the powerful dark wizard Gellert Grindelwald's plans of raising pure-blood witches and wizards up to rule over the non-magical community or muggles. For those of us who have reread the books again and again and have literally poured our childhood across the pages of Rowling's imagination, it's clear that Rowling's epic draws a strong parallel between the pure-blood fanaticism of Lord Voldemort and his band of Death Eaters with the Nazis' anti-Jewish bigotry. Take for instance the expressions pure-blood, half-blood and muggle-born that have frequently been tossed about throughout the course of the series by people for whom these distinctions matter in order to express their superiority over others. Now look at the methods that the Nazis used in order to show exactly what constituted the pure Aryan blood or the polluted Jewish blood. It's chilling to see the Nazis use precisely the same warped logic as the Death Eaters, wherein a single Jewish grandparent was enough to pollute your blood as per their propaganda. And as if that is not enough, there is also an eerie similarity between Hitler and Lord Voldemort. Hitler's father was supposedly illegitimate, while Voldemort's father was a muggle. Hitler's mother was a domestic help, while Voldemort's mother was disregarded by her own family and forced to do measly chores. Both Hitler and Voldemort had strong megalomaniacal tendencies and a fixed determination to repress feelings of weakness, timidity and love, as well as to condemn them in others. Both were tyrannical leaders who behaved without conscience and authorized their followers to do the same. But while all these comparisons have always been understated, The Crimes of Grindelwald abandons any form of subtlety and directly throws it in our face, particularly with the depiction of Gellert Grindelwald as a power-hungry populist in an extremely politically divisive time. In my review of the Netflix World War II drama Operation Finale last month, I spoke of how the film showed that it only takes demagogues like Hitler to kickstart a cataclysmic event like World War II. But how is it that people actually fall for their twisted notions of superiority and prejudice? All I can say is that we are living in the age of Donald Trump, where it is very easy for men like Adolf Hitler, Lord Voldemort and Gellert Grindelwald to sell their immoral vision to people who are only too happy and naive to fall for it. In one of the most powerful moments in the entire film, we get to see him doing the exact same thing that all tyrants end up doing. He first charms his audience while addressing a large rally, before warning them about the impending danger from the others. I'll admit that for a brief moment, even I was completely taken in by his impassioned speech to his fellow witches and wizards, asking them to rise up for the greater good.
They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists.
It's too close to real life to not be terrifying, and that terror only builds as the film reveals just how easy it is to sway people to the dark side. Many are happy to subscribe to Grindelwald's pure-blood ideology by the end, and the fact that some of these characters are the ones that we thought were inherently good in the first film makes it all the more unsettling and heartbreaking to watch. Undeniably, the film belongs to Johnny Depp, who after a string of disappointing performances, does one of his best works here in recent years, playing the titular character of Gellert Grindelwald with an artistic flourish. From a blink and miss cameo in the first film, the actor emerges as a clear scene stealer by adding his own improvisational touches to his character. Jude Law is perfectly cast as the younger version of Albus Dumbledore. He not just manages to retain the same twinkle in the eye charm that veteran actors such as Richard Harris and Michael Gambon brought to the older version of the iconic character, but also surprises us by revealing a slightly flawed and more emotional side to Dumbledore. Ezra Miller retains his role as Credence Barebone from the first film, and like the previous film, continues to shine in the film's more emotional moments. The four leads from the first film, Eddie Redmayne as Newt Scamander, Katherine Waterston as Tina Goldstein, Dan Fogler as Jacob Kowalski, and Alison Sudol as Queenie Goldstein lighten up the mood in what is an otherwise darker film compared to the first one. The Beast, however, features slightly less in the second film, what with the Grindelwald Credence story arc taking more of a foreground, although we do get to see a lot of our favourite Niffler, as well as a new addition in the form of a monstrously large feline beast from China. There are plenty of new and exciting characters, including Claudia Kim playing a very interesting part. There are some interesting characters that we have known over the course of the Harry Potter storyline who return as their younger selves, and then there are characters about whom we have heard of while reading the books or watching the movies, but have never really seen them in the flesh. All this is very exciting, but nothing beats the pure joy and nostalgia that greets you when you lay your eyes on your favourite building in the wizarding world. The Crimes of Grindelwald banks hard on the nostalgia of the previous films. It's leisurely paced, which makes one feel like they're watching pieces of chess being slowly moved into position, setting the stage for future installments. While it may not be as episodic as the first film or any other film in the Harry Potter filmography, it speaks to a higher thematic, one that is politically relevant today in the age of Donald Trump. While the first film was a highly entertaining twist on Jazz Age America that breathed fresh life into the Potter franchise, the second film, with its themes of divided societies and minority prosecutions, takes the Potterverse into an altogether different direction, one that we are least prepared for. To quote Gellert Grindelwald, magic blooms in this one. I'm going with 4 out of 5 for Fantastic Beasts, The Crimes of Grindelwald.